Chapter 12, Treehouse. My mental health started breaking down at this point in my life. As my years passed, memories started mounting. Some of these memories broke my heart, leaving scars. Scars make tracks from the emotional roller coaster of my soul. Around 12 years old, I started feeling the emotional roller coaster click on. Click, click, click. The coaster creeps to the top. When I was 12, my parents' lives were reaching a pressure point. Bills and responsibility of raising four daughters, stress of losing family members from illness, these memories rang in my head. My heart was hurting for my family, especially my mother. She was losing everyone. Her family was dying and her daughters were growing up. She must have felt so alone. Tragedy seemed to follow my mom around, taking one loved one after another. This was heartbreaking. During the midst of it all, losing your home in a fire, home foreclosures, post 9/11 world, and teenagers, life was hard for my mom. I was her baby and I was growing up. My mom was concerned with the amount of pain that I had experienced at a young age. She got me involved in every program. My mom would drop to her knees and pray that all the therapy and community service would ease my pain, asking God to help keep me on track and the boys away. My mom did not want us to repeat her sins, having babies too young. To avoid the boys, she got us into church. The boys found us there. However, the involvement enriched our character. Being busy in church taught us the foundations to be good girls. Along with church, we had community programs, Girl Scouts, and school. We were all very busy. My mom signed us up for everything. Every sport, club, job, or activity, we did it. She was always very mindful to remind us that nothing is promised. My mom taught us to be grateful for what you have. Everything and everyone can be gone tomorrow. She forced us to be involved in community service. This helped distract me with hope and away from grief. Service in others always gets my emotional roller coaster to slow down, acknowledging that I must be grateful for it as it could be gone tomorrow, reminding myself to stay humble in my journey in the climb to prosperity. Serving underprivileged is where I find the serving underprivileged is where I feel like my purpose is. Responsibility came to me at an early age. When I tell my hard knock stories, everyone feels bad for me. I do not. I find pride in it. Those chapters of my life helped me that I can make it through anything. And at the age of 14, I got excellent at taking care of myself. My nickname that I gave myself was Matilda. I cooked and I cleaned and I took care of myself by the time I was 6. When I turned 14, I was in high school. I was grown. And prior to high school, I was a loudmouth chubby girl. Now, my chubby girl grew into my lady lumps overnight, and as this age, I was mending my heart. And during this time in my life, I was in a constant state of a broken heart. My mom was exhausted from raising four daughters. Now, I know this for sure. By the time she took on the three reign by the time she took on free range by this time she took on free range parenting style. There was a lot of trust with my mom and me, and she assumed I told her everything because I talk a lot. And some of what I say is true, and some twisted to my benefit in the moment. This is a tactic that I would continue to use to help move me up the ladder. I am not innocent all the time, and my manipulation tendencies always brought bad karma to my door. Also, I'm paranoid schizophrenic. I just found out, so that's why there's many me's that make decisions I don't always like. But luckily, with medication, I have balance and I understand things. By the time I was 22, I had caused a lot of hurt, broke a lot of hearts, and hurt a lot of feelings. And at the time, I did not care. I was in self-reliant mode, only focused on getting out of the situation I was gifted. At 22, life was calm. I was an adult and things were going well. I had a good job and a nice, modest starter. trailer, and it was cute and gave me joy. And the years have changed me for the better, changed my ways. Each year helped build a better person within me. With experience taught me to forgive myself for any hurt that I have caused, and I cannot carry remorse. I must climb, and remorse is a heavy load to carry. Now that I know better, I must do better. And at 22, I was looking for joy. Joy in my relationship and my new home. And at that time in my life, I was repairing my relationship with my boyfriend. He was doing his own magic on repairing our relationship. He was giving me the good love, the I'm so sorry baby love, the kind of love you need to be careful because you might make a little angel, and always had me feeling things that are indescribable. The love that I got from his magic, I was in love, deep love. What is funny is that face is linked with my old friend. The first night that my ex-husband was able to crack my code, he taught me at the right time. He caught me at the right time on the right night. Earlier that night, I was surrounded by my old friend's memory. That was the point. I finally broke up with my old friend's best bud. I had spent the night talking to the girl. I had spent the night talking to a girl that was in drama class with me and my old friend, Noelle. This friend of mine was one of my old friends, and this friend was one that was always at my old friend and I's table. This friend knew that I was in love with him. I know because I told her. I don't remember the story. Let's just move forward. Likely after heavy breathing coming down from the lighting booth. A lot of these are made up because I remember more of my childhood. Me and my old friend, we were never that way, but he was just, that's just who he was. He thought he was James Dean, and I mean, he was, but I used to just sit back and laugh. I found it amusing. Anyway, that night in question, she was reminding me of all these good things. All the times he made me melt. She suggested that I greenlight the new kid because he reminded her of him. My old friend was never available for me, or so I thought. And after we dropped my ex-husband off, my ex-husband drove my sister and I to her apartment. And then when I got to her apartment, I grabbed the biggest bottle in the house and I opened the back of my throat and sat there and tried not to cry. The memory of my old friend started to destroy the pretty theater in my head. Now, side note, I was upset because the boy that I always liked was like trying to break up with me, but we had to go to prom. So a lot of my issues is from this boy who was best friends with the two boys that were like were always in front of him, but they just wouldn't move. I wanted the one that I went to prom with, but I didn't write that because one, I didn't think he ever would ever like me, and he was married at the time I wrote all this. Well, then he got divorced, and I was like, maybe it's not my old friend. But then the both of them were just like, we're done with you and your paranoid schizophrenia, and I was like, I get it. I get that all of the J boys need therapy because of me. I find it hilarious. And I'm sorry. I'll go. I'll be therapy for them if they just forgive me. Anyway. I'm skipping forward. Playing music to make it not have dead air while I find an appropriate thing to start reading. Oh, this is good. I have to read this. I'm going to make this the video and then I'm going to come back and finish the story. But this is what everyone wants to know. This J Boy story is what is the funnest. It's always my favorite thing to talk about, trying to figure out the J boys.